this?
I think what you're going to find is the people locally or the companies locally aren't going to have the expertise that you need, and you're just going to go with the same companies that you've been using in all these other prisons that you've been building. I have a question for Griff. Were you guys involved with the prison that was built in Hardin, Montana?
No.
Okay. Another question for Griff. In regards to the Economic Recovery Act bonds, what strings are attached with those? When we take federal money, how is that? What sort of strings are we obligated to with them? Because I know obviously we don't get what strings could we be? That could be attached to us for that. Okay, yeah.
Under the Recovery Act that was adopted by Congress last year, there were new types of debt which were authorized by Congress in order to stimulate the economy. One of those types of debt is referred to as Recovery Zone Economic Development bonds. Without boring you about all the details, the nice thing about this particular project is that this is a project that could be financed using that kind of a debt instrument. Why do you say that? Why is that important? Well, a Recovery Zone Economic Development bond is issued as a taxable bond, unlike most municipal bonds. Most municipal bonds are issued tax exempt. But a Recovery Zone Economic Development bond would be issued as a taxable bond, which means it would bear a higher rate of interest than you would typically see. But the reason why that's advantageous, more advantageous than doing, for example, a typical tax exempt bond, is because the Recovery Act provides that the federal government will rebate back or reimburse back to the county 45% of all of the interest cost.
And that's what I'm asking. What sort of strings are attached to that type of a?
There are some requirements for that type of a bond, and one of the principal requirements that governmental entities have to look into, and the county is already very much aware of this, is the Davis-Bacon rules with regard to employment wages. With respect to this type of a project would apply to a recovery zone bond. Now, if it's were determined that more than offsets the benefit of a recovery zone bond, the fallback position is another type of bond that was authorized under the federal law, and that's referred to as Build America bonds. Those bonds are not subject to Davis-Bacon. But they are not as good as recovery zone bonds because rather than getting a 45% reimbursement, you can only get a 35% reimbursement. And so those are issues that the financial advisor of the county would be looking into to determine what's the best, most economical way for the county to finance this facility.
Okay, I'm glad you recognize that bonds are debt, and that's why I want to get back to what you said earlier, because I've got some articles out of the Wyoming State Constitution here about, first of all, 18-4-301 says each Board of County Commissioners may create an indebtedness which, with the existing indebtedness of the county, does not exceed the constitutional debt limitation for counties. Now, the constitutional debt limitation on counties shall not exceed 2% per annum of the assessed value of taxable property in the county. Do you know what the current assessed value of the county is? If you don't, I called ahead and I got it already.
Well, first of all, those provisions are really not applicable to this type of agency.
Hold on a second. Let me finish what I have to say. According to the county assessor, it's $825 million. So 2% of that is about $16.5 million. So
right.
So going back to the Constitution, or what right. is the written law of the land, I don't understand how you guys can spin this and say, oh, it's not debt, it's a lease. Okay, if it's a lease, who owns the lease? Who are we paying the lease, the debt to? Because regardless of how you want to call it, it is debt. I get a credit card and I use that credit card. I'm leasing money, but I still have a debt every month. That's a debt. Yes, right. It is, and you know right. it is.
It's a debt, but your analogy is not accurate.
My analogy is exactly what this is.
We're not getting a credit card here. The point is
right, but I can't walk away from a credit card like we can walk away from the
Exactly.
from the jail.
So you just highlighted the difference.
Right,
That's why it's not a debt.
But the problem here is procedurally, we're unhappy with the way that you're doing this. Okay? There's a right way and a wrong way to represent the people. I mean, can you sit there in that chair, clicking your pen, and say, I'm representing the people right now?
Well, are you?
No,
are
not you.
Oh,
Not you.
Because I didn't vote.
Can you sit there honestly and say to me, yeah, I think I'm fulfilling...
Yes, I do.
You do? Okay. How about you, over there?
Yes.
Tell me why you feel that way.
Why do I?
Because I don't think that we feel like... And I think our opinion is more important than yours.
You're entitled to that opinion.
You're right.
And so I'm not going to even try to challenge that. You're very much entitled to. These meetings are a good thing. I love the input we're getting here from them. I'm not going to tell you that I don't. And so why do I think we're doing the right thing?
Yeah.
We're bound by law to provide jails and courts and all the other things. When you put us in the chairs to do that, that's what you put us in the chairs to do. And so providing those things is what our responsibilities rest. And right now, we're not providing what we should be providing.
So can you sit there and tell me that knowing what the Constitution says, that you're following the Constitution, and